So, you get one of the biggest things that people say about you, right, is that China Mac is a culture vulture. You get that a lot, and you've addressed it so many times, being a person of a different ethnicity, being in hip hop, and hip hop being a black art form. How do you feel when you are told this, or you're a cultural appropriator?
Right. I feel like, these people, everybody that's saying that is just lazy viewers, right? They just reading the title and just taking it as facts. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even have to be factual. People could just say, you could just see it a couple times, and all of a sudden, people gonna just go with that. You know what I mean? So, anybody that follows me, anybody that really knows me, anybody that's been following my work knows that I'm not a cultural appropriator. First of all, for me to be a cultural appropriator, I would have to be not a part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? And that's absolutely not the fact. You know what I mean? Um, skin color doesn't. I said this mad times. You know what I mean? And this is for a lot of ignorant. There's a lot of ignorant people out there. They think that skin. They think that the color of your skin determines your culture, which is not true, because the culture doesn't have anything to do with your skin. The culture has everything to do with your environment, has everything to do with what was taught to you. You know what I'm saying? That is culture. You know what I'm saying? You could be any complexion, any skin complexion, any race, and be a part of a culture that really predominantly doesn't have anything to do with your race. For example, we're in America, right? You have everybody speaking English. Our, you know what I mean? We're not fucking from England. You know what I'm saying? We're not Europeans. You know what I mean? But because we're in America and the culture of this country is, is this language, then that becomes our culture. You know what I'm saying? Prime example, I'm Chinese. You know what I mean? Like, my people was my family, they were born in China. But my culture isn't China. You know what I'm saying? Because I've never been to China. So how can my culture be of China? I could hardly speak. I don't speak Chinese. I don't speak Mandarin. You know what I'm saying? So that is not a part of my culture. I speak English. You know what I mean? I was born in New York City. Like, you know what I'm saying? That is a part of my culture. I was born and bred in hip hop. Like, that is a part of my culture. I can't identify with things that going on in China. Just because my skin complexion is this, that means a person that is of black descent. You know what I'm saying? So that means that just because you're black, you're automatically African culture. That could be farthest from the truth. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people understand it, but they just want to pick and choose where to apply it to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, that's like me saying, "Oh, you're black, so you should know." I could ask you everything about African stuff, and a lot of people that was born and raised in America that are black don't know anything about Africa. They never been to Africa, but their people are from there. Like, the lineages from whatever is from there. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that they know anything of it. That doesn't mean that they're a part of the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing because, like, in some of your videos that I've covered, it's like the whole thing is like they were saying like, well, Asian people do eat cats and dogs, so like, where's the lie? And it's like what people do in other parts of Asia do not apply to Asian Americans. It's just like it's like the same like the same things that people do in Africa doesn't mean that African Americans are doing in this country. Like the things that you uphold that as a part of the things that you believe in, right?
Right.
And so that to me is crazy that people think that it applies to you just because your ancestors come from that country.
Yeah, but that's funny because, like, eating weird stuff isn't doesn't just happen in China. You know what I'm saying? Like, people eat weird stuff. People eat shit like like stuff like that, like different type of stuff when there is no food. You know what I'm saying? And up to recently, China was a third world country for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Up to like maybe 20 years ago, or 15, 20 years ago, or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But they don't just eat that in China, bro. They eat that like all over the place. I've seen documentaries where they're eating stuff like that in mad different places, like different islands, different,
Right.
all different places. Like, you know what I mean? I seen it happen in Africa. I seen people eating crazy stuff out there, and it's because of the just just because that there's not enough food. That, like, you can't just go to the supermarket and buy whatever you want in some of these countries. So when you're living in these type of countries, you just got to eat to survive. That's like right now, if America was to turn into, if all the stores stop having food and we can't go to the supermarkets to eat, we're gonna be eating some weird shit. Like, we're gonna be eating whatever we could to survive. So that's everywhere. That's anywhere. That's not just China, bro. That's a lot of places. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. Um, the interesting thing that I see is kind of like we're in America, right? America's supposed to be a melting pot of cultures. I feel like when you put culture out into the world, you can't expect people to not be influenced by culture. So it's not always about cultural appropriation, it's a cultural appreciation. There's so many people that love Asian culture as well, right? You know what I mean? Like, you look at in hip hop, there's a lot of mention of Asian culture from Wu-Tang. You mentioned, like, what is it, from the Neptunes, right? There's a lot of different things. And one of the arguments I saw you make was like, if you're going to say that I don't belong in this culture, then I'm going to need to take some of the Asian influences out of it with me then.
Right. Yeah. Like, you can't say. Listen, man. One thing about hip hop is a lot of people don't know, right? Hip hop was started in New York City. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop was started in New York City. And anybody that ever been in New York City, is not just black people in New York City. It's not just white people in New York City. It's not just Spanish people in New York City. It's all types of people in New York City. So when we're talking about a place that is a melting pot of mad different cultural groups. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, man. People borrow. You know what I mean? Hip hop started as anti-establishment, anti-government. You know what I'm saying? Anti-fight the power. You know what I'm saying? That's what hip hop started on. And in those days, it wasn't. It was everybody. It was the people against the power. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and also hip hop, it borrows, right? Like, hip hop borrows sounds. Hip hop borrows different cultures. It's been like that from the beginning. Like, just even if you look at the beats, right? Just how hip hop beats are made. It's sampled. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you got samples from all types of different music. You know what I'm saying? All your favorite music, your favorite songs were samples, sounds, the beats, the drums, or even the lyrics. They were sampled. You know what I'm saying? What was some of your favorite songs were sampled, taken from different cultures, different music, different genres. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop has always been um, all inclusive. You know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop has always been art that borrows from from other cultures, from other sounds and other places. You know what I'm saying? And as a result, other places gravitate towards it. You know what I mean? Um, that's why it's so loved and revered and so accepted in all parts of different countries because of how hip hop came in. Hip hop came in as a art form that respected all other um, cultures and stuff. So I think this where so it's you can't pigeonhole hip hop to that because it wasn't created like that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people that are saying that, oh, hip hop is this, hip hop is that, they don't even know how hip hop was created. You know what I mean?